Okay, so now let's talk about how to write an exponential function from a table. So I'm looking at number 10 from the review sheet, and we have a table that looks like this. 0, 4, 1, 2.8, 2, 1.96, and 3, 1.372. So the first thing we want to do is think about what is our A. Our A is our starting value, which in a table is always where the 0 happens. When x equals 0, our A is going to be the f of x. So our A in this case is 4. That is our starting value. Now what is our B? B represents the ratio of change, or how the things are changing. You can also think of it as the number which you keep multiplying by. So if I'm going from 4 to 2.8, what am I multiplying by? Now, you can do some guess and check to try to figure this out. Or you can think about this from a more algebraic perspective. I know that 4 times some number equals 2.8. Now, if we have an equation like this, we know how to solve for the unknown. What we can do is we can divide both sides by 4, which means that my unknown is equal to 2.8 divided by 4. I put this into a calculator, and I find that it is equal to 0.7. I can go ahead and check my work. 4 times 0.7 is in fact equal to 2.8. 2.8 times 0.7 is equal to 1.96. And 1.96 times 0.7 is equal to 1.372. So this means that my B is equal to 0.7. The next thing we need to figure out is if this function is representing a growth or a decay. Decay is a fancy word for loss. So I'm thinking about, are my numbers getting bigger? Are they a growth? Or are my numbers getting smaller? Are they a decay? Looking at the table, we can see that the numbers are getting smaller. I started with the number 4, and as I keep going, I get closer to the number 1. So this equation is going to represent decay. The other thing I want to think about is, what is my percent change? So that's asking what percent am I changing from my 100%? So let's go back and look at our B. Our B is 0.7. 0.7 is the same thing as 70%. This means that each time, as I go down, my new value is 70% of what it used to be from its previous value. So let's think about that for a moment. We started out with something that had 100% of its value. It has decay, which means it lost a certain amount, and it ended up with 70% of its original value. What is this number going to be? This number is going to be 30%. And this right here represents my percent change. I am decreasing by 30%. So my percent change is 30%.